What is good, everybody? Welcome to another look ahead, part of the SB Nation NFL show. I am Rob Stats Guerrera. He is RJ Ochoa. RJ, it's game day, baby. How the hell are you?
It's not really game day, not for elite teams at least. But it is the middle of Christmas blitz. Everywhere you look, there's an NFL game. I'm like I heard this take that this is what it would be like if the NFL schedule was like Major League Baseball. And I gotta say, I don't necessarily love it. I love football, but it's family time, guys. Give me 3 hours to go play Monopoly or something. Like this is a little bit much. But you know what, Stats? I hope the good guys win tonight. I'll say that.
It is crazy. Like, I feel like I have not yet fully digested last week for the 49ers, yet here we are. They are playing tonight against the Titans. We are going to take a deep dive into the most important games of the week. We'll hit every other game in the lightning round. But before we do that, RJ, just want to remind you that the SB Nation NFL show is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code SBNNFL for a special offer when you sign up. That is code SBNNFL only at DraftKings. Oh, by the way, rate, review, subscribe to the SB Nation NFL show. If you take the time to leave a review, we will read it on the show, good, bad, or ugly. And we have read some ugly ones on the show. So whatever you want to say, leave a review and we read it.
It's all about commitment here at the SB Nation NFL show, Stats, which is why we hold ourselves accountable in a number of different ways. One of those ways is by the games that we pick and choose to believe in, something you and I have been doing back since week 13, because that was kind of when the holiday spirit sort of, well, I feel the holiday spirit all year round, but you, my friend Stats the Grinch, were only recently getting into it. So you and I back in week 13, we started a little pool, little fun, little bet sort of situation every week. The games we disagree on, the lines we disagree on. Again, per our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, we write those down, we chart them, we I wouldn't say we graph them, but we pay attention to them. And we have a running contest going. Whoever loses between you and I, eventually has to make. I say has to make, but is going to willfully make a donation to charity. So it's a fun sort of festive holiday little tournament we have going on here on the Look Ahead Stats. Do you want me to remind you what happened in week 15?
Yes, sadly, I think you should.
So we had 4 games that we disagreed on in week 15. I don't know why you're so morose about it, because it was a push. You and I each had 2 games correct, or were correct on 2 games. You barely squeaked one out, though. We got the week started with Chargers Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. You took Kansas City as a 3-point favorite, and if not for the Travis Kelce 5,000-yard touchdown run at the end of that game, it might have gone a different way. Or if one of Brandon Staley's heroic 2-point conversions had gone the right way, I might have won. But so that was a good one for you. I said a long time ago, Stats, the Bills were going to win one of their next 4 games. I said it was going to come against the Carolina Panthers, and I was correct. They were 11-point favorites. That is the largest favorite that either of us has taken so far here throughout this little tournament. The second largest was Indianapolis over Houston by 10 back in week 13, and I was correct on both of those, so congratulations to me and my bravery. When it came to Broncos Bengals, I foolishly I was lured by the frauds, the Broncos. I took Denver by 2.5. The Bengals came out. I wouldn't say it was like a easy cover. It was a little stressful there at the very end.
Man, they all count the same.
Finally, Stats, you bet against the team you're so excited to see tonight. The San Francisco 49ers were 9-point favorites against the Atlanta Falcons last week. You didn't believe Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, Kyle Shanahan's quarterback, Kyle Pitts, the Pro Bowler, and everything. Ha, stupid. You suck. So I got that right. We split week 15 2-2. So far from week 13 through now, I have 7 correct picks. You have 5. So I am up on you by 2 stats.
All right, that's not insurmountable here. We have still got plenty of time left. I'm not worried about it at all. So let's go. Let's get our oxygen mask. Let's get our goggles. Let's begin our deep dives here. And we'll start on Thursday Night Football. The 49ers travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans are getting 3 points in this game. If Tennessee wins and the Colts lose, RJ, they win the AFC South. So there is a lot at stake here for Tennessee. Now, obviously, they can still win it other weeks if they lose, but it's not like they have absolutely nothing to play for in this one.
They don't. I do think it's kind of amazing that that the AFC South is not already locked up. I think we would have thought a month ago, like there's no way that Indianapolis is going to make this a race, but lo and behold, they have, sadly, at the expense of Philadelphia's first round pick next year, I might add. But I don't know that I believe in the Titans all too much, man. I mean, the Titans are kind of suspect. I mean, I correctly predicted them to lose last week to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm sad that I was right about that. I mean, I'm pumped that I'm a genius, but they are. Do you know what the Titans are stats by overall DVOA at this point at week 16?
I do not.
They are 23rd by
Oof.
overall DVOA. The only teams that they are ahead of, I mean, there's a lot, but I think these are the teams you're ahead of: Chicago, Miami, the Giants, the Panthers, the Jets, the Lions, the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Falcons, the team you were so afraid of last week, by the way. I mean, that's awful. And I mean, they managed to survive without Derrick Henry for a lot longer than I think any of us thought was possible. And I know they caught some bad breaks last week against Pittsburgh, but I just don't believe in them. Meanwhile, I mean, over this last 6 weeks, San Francisco has been like one of the most efficient offenses in the NFL, one of the tops when it comes to EPA per play and things like that. I mean, I trust Kyle Shanahan. He has re-earned my trust at the very least.
Yeah, the 49ers have won 5 out of their last 6. The Titans have dropped 3 out of their last 4. Here's what worries me, RJ. Thursday night football games, for the most part, are usually ugly football games, right? And ugly football games generally come down to 3 things: turnovers, field position, and field goals. And those are not the 49ers' strongest areas. They are awful on kickoffs. They can't reach the end zone on the kickoff, and they can't cover. So they're allowing big returns. The 49ers have the 3rd worst kickoff coverage DVOA in the entire league. Apparently their punter is tired, Kyle Shanahan said. So they might have 39-year-old Robbie Gould do some of the kickoff duties. Yay. It's always good when you need the oldest kicker in the league to come in and do your kickoffs. Robbie has been shaky at best. They turn the ball over on special teams. So if it does come down to this kind of ugly game of field position and field goals, I'm nervous as a 49er fan.
I think you're reading way too much into it. And I know you're scarred. I know Kyle Shanahan has hurt you, like I said, but the offense is so, I mean, do I expect a showing that we've seen over the last month? Maybe not. You have to inject the Thursday night factor. By the way, on the subject of Robbie Gould, like, I know this is weird, but like, remember when he wanted to go back to Chicago? Like, what an awful idea that was, I hope Kyle Shanahan sits him down. Is like, you could thank me, you know what I mean? Like for not acquiescing there. But anyway, I just like, I trust Kyle Shanahan. Like you mentioned, it comes down to 3 things. I think it also similarly comes down to 3 things for me. The head coach, I love Mike Vrabel, but I trust Kyle Shanahan more right now. The quarterback, I love Ryan Tannehill, but I hate to say it, this is kind of a push. And I know that really bothers you because you hate Jimmy Garoppolo. And then the Thursday night factor. But the Thursday night factor plays at both hands here. And I honestly think that Tennessee's under a lot more pressure than San Francisco because they have dropped, because Indianapolis is surging. And I think that Tennessee might be looking past this because their next 2 games, their final 2 games after this, the Titans have the Miami Dolphins. I told you before the show I picked up their defense in my fantasy league of record because I need them to show out next week, Titans. So if you put out a stinker here tonight, next week, get it back on track. My point is they have the Dolphins and Texans to finish it up. So I could see like the Titans being like, we just got to get through this. Just got to get through this Thursday night game. We'll get the mini bye. We'll get those 2 clunkers to finish things out. We'll finish strong. We'll head into the playoffs. We'll get a playoff game here in Nashville. Derrick Henry will be back. And I think they might be underestimating the 49ers in that sense. Whereas the Niners are like super locked and loaded and they're chasing, I think you're a little foolish that you think San Francisco can still win the NFC West. But while I don't think that's true, I think they could totally, at the very least, climb up to be the 5 seed in the playoffs.
All I said was it's possible. I said, in fact, my exact words were, it's not probable.
Yeah, that was such a cop out. It's possible that like Mastodon could show up at your front door right now. Stats. It's not impossible, but it is possible.
Do they ring the bell or do they just barge right in?
I think they have trunks, right?
Yes.
I think that they use the trunk to like ring the doorbell.
There you go. Well, that's polite at least. Tennessee they're having major injury problems right now. First of all, they've already used 87 players this season. That is the most in the league and the most ever in a non-strike season. It looks like Julio Jones is going to try and give it a go. AJ Brown might be able to play. As we record this, it's up in the air, but and this could be a big but, RJ. Tennessee is going to be down 2 starting offensive linemen. Ryan Tannehill is already the second most sacked quarterback in the league before this game, and here comes Nick Bosa. 15 sack Nick Bosa, in my opinion, the defensive player of the year, the runaway comeback player of the year. If he wants to win any of those awards, to me, RJ, in a primetime game, this is where Bosa can do it, right? The world is watching, get 2 or 3 sacks, maybe throw a strip in there. And to me, he cements himself into one of those awards tonight.
Stats. Look, I am far from a homer. All right. But the idea that anyone other than Dak Prescott would win comeback player of the year, like as somebody who agrees and acknowledges how important narrative is in these awards, the Dallas Cowboys quarterback is not going to win this.
Good.
I don't care. He's led like comeback. If there's an award that is like purely narrative, it is comeback player of the year. Like when did Phillip Rivers win it? Like, and he came back from just like sucking,
sucking. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I'm sorry. Like maybe on merit, Nick Bosa deserves it more, but Dak is the quarterback of America's team that's going to win the division, be a top seed in the NFC. There's no way he's not winning that award.
They're not going to be the top seed in the NFC.
Well, a top seed is what I'm saying.
I think Bosa's going to, because I think they don't want to give defensive player of the year to Bosa. I think they're going to want to give it to Parsons or somebody else. They don't want to give 2 awards to Cowboys. Exactly. See? So to me, Bosa's going to stake his claim. That's going to be the key, because if Julio Jones can play anything close to his potential, and A.J. Brown, maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't, but the 49ers secondary is hideously bad. So unless that pass rush gets to Tannehill, they're going to have opportunities to make plays down the field.
Do you know how many touchdowns Julio Jones has this season?
Stats. That would be 0.
That would be 0. And I'm not trying to hindsight analyze things here, but man, and the Falcons haven't been good, don't get me wrong, but the Falcons took so much heat for that. It was like, how could you trade Julio Jones?
I didn't want Julio and the Niners. I was saying it all. He's old. He's always hurt. His hamstring hasn't been healthy since 2007.
I mean, well, he was drafted in 2011, so
great. That's how bad it's been.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, again, not saying what a bunch of dummies the Titans were, but remember that all do the Titans have the best wide receiver duo in the NFL now? It's just just remember that in the offseason when moves happen. That's all I'm saying. But I will take the Niners. I will take them with confidence. I will take them to cover. Maybe you're a coward and not believing in your team for the second straight week, though.
No, I will take the 49ers, and I will give the 3 points. I don't love it, but the Niners have to win. Like you mentioned, they're locked in. This is not, it's not a must win because they'd still be in the playoffs if they lost, but you just can't afford to give these games away. It's way too tight at the bottom of that NFC right now. The Niners, like you said, are rolling. Plus, I think they really love the idea of win this game, get to 9-6, then you get 10 days off, and then you get the Houston Texans coming into Levi's Stadium. That is the ideal scenario for San Francisco. If they could find a way to get this win, I don't think it's going to be pretty, but if they could, they are going to be set up going into the final 2 games of the year. San
Francisco, you suck, but you're going to win this game.
How dare you? Oh, by the way, Nick Bosa is going to largely go up against David Quisenberry, who's allowed a league-high 11 sacks this year, so Nick Bosa, go win some awards tonight. All right, next game, Colts at the Cardinals. And this is kind of interesting because the Colts are sort of the AFC version of the 49ers, team that struggled early, has come back.
They beat the Niners, by the way, stats, just so you know.
Yes, they did. That game and the friggin' Colt McCoy game the Niners lost are the 2 games that are haunting them right now. But Colts travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a 1-point favorite. They've lost 2 straight. Meanwhile, the Colts have won 7 of 9. And I'm sorry, man. I think the Cardinals are kind of in a little bit of quicksand. They've won 2 straight games. They have gone from, trying to lock up the number 1 seed to now being tied with the Rams and just trying to avoid being a wild card team.
So I don't like to call people frauds or losers or anything. I would never do that.
No, you never would do that.
I think, though, Stats, you were too quick to come back around on Cliff Kingsbury. You have said on the SB Nation NFL show airwaves that, you were wrong, that Cliff Kingsbury's a great head coach, and he might very well be, but he's kind of not. Every contender, except for the Packers, which pains me to say, every contender has what the hell happened loss, right? Everyone does,
The Packers have one to the Saints.
that was week 1. Like it's still a little weird, and the Saints are still like Saints are in the mix.
Saints are trash.
I mean,
Trash.
whatever. Anyway, I I I think the Packers have the most excusable losses, but the most inexcusable loss, regardless of how weird this season has been, belongs to the Arizona Cardinals. The perfect situation, if you lose the way they did on Monday Night Football to the Rams, is okay, you know what? This sucks. Let's get back on track. Let's go beat the crap out of the Lions. And like, fine, maybe you don't beat the crap out of it. Let's go win. The fact that you lost to the Lions, I'm all the way out. I'm all the way out. No, I mean, like, I cannot come back. There's no way. Nothing you can do that can bring or pull me back in, Cardinals. I'm sorry. You are the true frauds. I've been throwing that word around a lot this season. I mean, and remember, like, all these like Cardinals fans, like, why is nobody giving us national love? It's because you're gonna go and lose to the Lions. That's why. That's why. Like, we can't believe in you. We can't. I mean, because this is just I don't know. I mean, these are bad. Like, not even bad vibes, just bad. It's just bad all the way around. Missing DeAndre Hopkins. And remember, there was all the like, well, look at how they did without DeAndre and without Kyler Murray last time they were out. It's like, yeah, good job by them. They beat a crummy 49ers team without them. but
Sure.
I mean, and I like the part of me that loves football is a little upset that the Colts are winning the way that they are. I'm fascinated by it, and I would kind of like to see Jonathan Taylor win MVP at this point, just because it would pain me greatly to see Aaron Rodgers win it back to back. I don't know how you don't take the Colts here. I'm taking the Colts just to get out in front of this if you want to take the Cardinals. But I mean, how can, and dude, it could get worse for the Cardinals. They play the Cowboys next week, and then they play the Seahawks to wrap things up. And not that I believe in the Seahawks, but I mean, the NFC West is weird. Like, could you not? They could totally slip to 10-7.
Yeah, when you lose your get right game, when you're the Cardinals, that's a bad sign. Like you said, division game against the Rams, whatever. Like, things happen, but to go lose, and they didn't just lose to the Lions.
Oh, dude, they got embarrassed.
Yeah, they got their doors blown off. That matters to me. And by the way, if the Cardinals couldn't stop Craig Reynolds last week, how the hell are they going to stop Jonathan Taylor from just running them into the ground? I think there's bad vibes in Arizona. If they win, they can stop all of this. If the Cardinals win, they clinch a playoff spot. So they can, throw the brakes on this whole, the Cardinals are, spiraling out of control. It's happening to them again for the second straight year. They can stop all of that with a win. I don't know, man. The Colts have been the league's highest scoring team over the last 8 weeks. Think about that. And then think about who the hell Carson Wentz is throwing to. Like, who is it? The ghost of T.Y. Hilton and what? Mo Alley Cox? Like, that's an incredible feat by Frank Reich. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. Here's my question, though, RJ. Do you have faith in Carson Wentz? Because, look at last week against the Patriots. He was 5 of 12 for 57 yards and a touchdown, and the most bogus touchdown pass ever in the world. It was one of those stupid little drop passes where they basically just drop the football, and that counts somehow as a pass, and he got a touchdown on that. Like, that's what Carson Wentz is doing right now. You have faith in that guy?
I don't, but I think that the Colts can carry him more than the Cardinals can carry anything right now. I mean, I love Kyler Murray, friend of the SB Nation NFL show, Kyler Murray, by the way. But I don't know how could you pick anybody coming off of a loss to the Lions? You can't. I mean, like, dude, like, the Vikings got so much more grief for losing to the Lions than the Cardinals have this week.
It's true.
Kirk Cousins got so much more grief, and I know that we are the like Kirk show, but like, remember, it was like, how could you possibly lose, Kirk? Even though, like, his loss was way more understandable or way less, like,
it wasn't a blowout.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it was just the Vikings defense that, like, pooped on themselves at the very end. You know what I mean? Like, the Cardinals got blown out in every capacity. Like, nothing they did worked against Detroit. Again, Detroit. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I read the Athletics recap on that game. It was so sad how, like, fitting the joke was. It was the Cardinals flew back home to Arizona without their kneecaps, thanks to Dan Campbell. And it was like, man, like, this is so sad that, like, they allowed for that joke to be made. So they are the joke, the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not picking them this week. I'm not picking them next week. The soonest I might pick the Cardinals is in 2 weeks when they play the Seahawks. But even then, I mean, if that's going to be Russell Wilson's last game as a Seahawk, like, there's no way that dude goes out, like, in a whimper. And so this is a tough scene for the Cardinals right now. I don't think they're going to win the NFC West.
Wow. So you are, like you said, you are all the way out on them. Something in my bones is telling me you can't count on Carson Wentz, but I think the Colts are going to go into this and just be like, screw it. We're giving Jonathan Taylor 30 carries, and whatever happens, happens.
I hope not, because I'm up against him in my fantasy playoffs.
No one cares. I'll take the Colts. I'll take the point, and I don't feel great about it, but that's where I'm going to go in that game. All right, we've still got multiple other games to take a deep dive on. We've still got our lightning round, RJ. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into Ravens Bengals. Back here on the SB Nation NFL show, we are continuing our deep dive into week 16. It feels weird to say that. Ravens on the road. They go to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are giving 3 points in this game. Think about this, RJ. At the beginning of the year, the Bengals were 25-1 to win the AFC North. Yet here we are, 3 games to go, and they have a share of the division lead.
So first of all, very thrown off by the fact that we just took a break and didn't do anything while we're live streaming. So to our video audience, welcome to how the sausage is made. But anyway, do we like really buy the Bengals? Like we kind of agreed that Zach Taylor was like, talking about like the odds-on favorite to be the first head coach fired. Like, and you have said a lot both here and you still do the other show, the one you do on Tuesdays. That still happen? Other thing?
Yeah, I do the other show, you jerk.
Well, you have said that this year, this is not about this year for the Bengals, right? You're playing with house money right now. Enjoy the ride because this is all about next year for you. And in that sense, I still don't believe in Zach Taylor. And so like this could be like a damaging ripple effect, for the Bengals, because you can't get rid of Zach Taylor now. You know what I mean? And so like you're stuck here. And so I don't know that I believe in Zach Taylor elevating them to the place that you're saying they need to get to in 2022. That being the case, I don't see how they don't win this game. I hate to say that. I hate, you mentioned your bones. I hate with my bones that John Harbaugh is being criticized for the 2-point conversions and all this stuff. I love the way he coaches. I think the fact that the Ravens are even somewhat competitive this season. I mentioned my fantasy team that everyone absolutely cares about. I, like a lot of people, I struggled at running back this year. Shout out Christian McCaffrey. But I drafted J.K. Dobbins, and I was so pumped about it. Like, we forget, like, they lost him before the season started. They have lost a number of different players and obviously had to deal without Lamar Jackson, and he has kept the ship afloat. If they make the playoffs, I think he's in running for coach of the year. I think he should be regardless, but, again, back to the narrative of it all. I will take the Bengals, and I'm very, very upset about it just because I would love to see the Ravens win. I just don't see how they can. But to be fair, that's generally when they find a way.
Just to give people an understanding of where the Ravens are, they put 5 players on the COVID list yesterday. That is the 7th straight day where they've had at least 1 player added to the list. And over the past 10 days, they've put 16 players on the reserve COVID list. And oh, by the way, 10 of those are on defense, which also has 11 players on injured reserve. That is insane. You only start 11 players on defense, and between the COVID list and injured reserve, the Ravens are without 21 defensive players. And yet here they are, still in the running for a playoff spot. And then people wonder why John Harbaugh is going for 2 in regulation so the game doesn't go into overtime. Are you out of your mind? He's got nobody out there. It's insanity. Give the Ravens so much credit. I agree with you. I love the way John Harbaugh coaches. I don't know if you saw the mic'd up thing that was floating around Twitter. He's asking everybody, do you want to go for it on 4th down? He's asking coaches. He's asking players. He's getting input he's doing what all these people that claim to hate analytics want coaches to do. He's factoring in the data. He's also asking the team around him. He's obviously questioning himself what he wants to do. He's trying to mix all the factors to make a decision. Isn't that what people want coaches to do instead of blindly following the spreadsheet, as they like to say?
I mean, yeah. I mean, everybody wants it if the results are what they like. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then when they're not, they're like, "This is stupid. Why didn't you do it?" I mean, like again, like Brandon Staley last week. I mean, it's dumb. People are too results oriented. BLG did say this on your fantastic other show that's kind of the way people are in life, and like that sucks. But I mean, and you can't convince people that feel that way. It's kind of the nature of the beast. I feel for the Ravens. I would love to be wrong. I don't see it, man. I mean, they don't have enough. They're running on fumes, and it's been impressive. After this, they get the Rams, and I still don't like totally buy into that. But the Rams are playing really well as of late. And then in week 18, they have the Steelers. Granted, that game's at home, and granted, the Steelers are kind of frauds.
Those games are always close.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's always tough. Like, I mean, they've made a lot of lemonade out of these lemons, and I just think they're done right now. And I'm sorry, Kyle Barber, who's handing me a huge L in our chess game right now as we speak. But I mean, it's an impressive season, something to hang your hat on. But next year, like, do you know how old John Harbaugh is, by the way?
Oh, he's got to be what, early mid-40s?
That really your guess?
Yeah, 45.
Okay, that's really off. But I thought you were gonna guess a lot older. He's 59.
He's 59.
Yeah,
he looks great.
And so
Kyle Shanahan looks like he's 79.
I agree. Like, John, my point is, like, even though he's much older than you thought, is John Harbaugh still going to be around for a long, long time, coaching in the NFL. I mean, like, he will win another Super Bowl. I'm very confident of that. I don't think it happens this year. But the Ravens will be back. 2022 might be their year.
Can I just throw this out there, because Lamar Jackson missed practice on Wednesday. Tyler Huntley's going to start again. I'm not saying there's a quarterback controversy. I'm saying this year,
don't do it.
Is there that big of a drop off between Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley? Like, are the Ravens at that much more of a disadvantage?
I don't know. I mean,
Huntley's been pretty damn good.
Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. Like, you know. So yes, they're at a disadvantage. I mean, yes, the answer is yes, they're at a disadvantage.
But, like, not that much. That's the crazy thing. And kudos to them, man. You found Tyler Huntley, so good for you. I'm just pointing out that Huntley's been very, very good. So you're taking the Bengals in this one, right?
I will take the Bengals, and I just want to, again, reiterate as I pull this up here. Do you know where the Ravens stand in the playoff picture? Because the Bengals are obviously leading the AFC North at the moment.
Not off the top of my head.
So the Ravens are 8-6. Okay. And you mentioned that the end of the NFC is real tight. It's really not. I mean, not for the Niners and the Rams, at least. Like, it's tight for the 7th seed in the NFC.
Right.
The AFC is kind of like sad at the top, but the bottom is really interesting. The Baltimore Ravens at 8-6 are the 8th seed. They are the first team out right now. And I think you got to win 2 of these final 3, especially, you got to win that Pittsburgh game, I think, because Pittsburgh is the 9 seed. They're right behind Baltimore. So if you win, that's like, I think it's kind of smart. Like, not that I think there is not a massive drop off, but I think it's kind of smart to get Lamar right. If you can steal one of these, the focus has got to be the Bengals and the Steelers games, right? I mean, the Rams are, the Rams, but it's a non-conference opponent,
game,
right? So if you can win these 2 games and you can get in with a healthy Lamar, I mean, right now, if they climb to the 7th seed, they're going to New England or Kansas City, whoever isn't the 1 seed. I mean, like, I'm not saying I trust it, but it's not impossible for John Harbaugh to go win that game.
It's going to be so much fun these last 3 weeks. It's going to be insane. I can't pick the Ravens with all those losses. Like, to overcome that would be incredible. So I guess I'll go Cincinnati in this one. I wouldn't be stunned at all if the Ravens won, but I have to go with Cincinnati. All right, let's go to New England now, where the Bills are going to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. Patriots are favored by 2.5 points in this one. There's so much juice on this game, right? The Bills it was their division, like you've said many times on this show, and then they go play New England, and they're in that crazy game with this obscene weather. To me, RJ, I think it's easy for the Bills to just throw that game out, right? Just put it out of your mind, because you're like, whatever, it was weird weather. That's not an accurate, assessment of who we are. This is going to be the week where we show up and show out and show the world that this is our division, and the Patriots can go pound sand.
I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't buy it at all, dude. And this hurts me. Like, I've argued with Pete Sweeney on the other show I do here at the SB Nation NFL show that the Bills were ready. The Bills were right. The Bills, you know what, Buffalo? You have made me look a fool. And if there's one thing I don't like to look, It's a fool. Stats, I said it a month ago. I'm going to stand by it. I said that entering this 4-game stretch, the Bills are going to win one of those 3 games, and it was against the Panthers. And a lot of that is because the Panthers are the Panthers. But that loss to New England sealed their fate. They lost to Tampa Bay the following week. Obviously, they came back a little bit and made it impressive. But they were still down. Like, that was like the sad part of that.
They had to come back, right?
Like if they had lost that crazy, wind game, whatever, in Foxborough, and this was in Buffalo, and you had a chance to kind of come back with the home crowd, I might be able to kind of buy what you're selling. I just don't, man. And the Patriots are coming off of a loss themselves, an embarrassing loss where Bill Belichick was so frustrated that he apologized to the media. Like Bill Belichick just came out and apologized, dude. Like, run and duck for cover. Like, there's no way that the Patriots are losing this game. None. Like Bill is laser focused. They might win by 10. They are going to crush the Bills this week.
I don't know about that. First of all, can I just say Bill Belichick apologizing to the media for being curt after the game? Bill, what's your excuse for the last 20 years?
That's a good point.
I mean, what, are you serious, Bill?
Well, he got fired from Cleveland. That was his excuse. He was upset over that.
So here's what I don't like coming from the Patriots. And I was kind of stunned by this. After the game, did you notice this? After the game against the Colts, Mac Jones got to the podium and said, one, that the team didn't practice good. He didn't practice good. And he said, we felt sorry for ourselves coming off of the bye, which is such a weird thing to say. I don't think that's something that rubbed a lot of the veterans in that locker room the right way. I'm sure the Patriots and Bill Belichick have talked to him about saying that. Like, you do not say stuff like that at the podium if you are a Patriots player. I have no confidence in Mac Jones. Like, I don't think Mac Jones is anything special. Just because he's played the best out of the rookies that we've seen so far doesn't mean he's actually good. It just makes him the best of that bunch, right? Like, if I go to a little league field right now, I'm going to look pretty good. Does that mean I could play baseball? Hell no. So I don't think that I'm as nearly as confident you are in the Patriots in this one. I think the Bills are going to come out. I think they're going to be super motivated in this game. They're the hungrier team for sure. I think I'm going Bills, and I think I'm taking the points.
I'm glad that we have a disagreement because it was getting a little bit boring around here. But stats, I mean, seriously, what a stupid line of thought here. I mean, embarrassing for you.
Which part specifically?
All of it.
There's a lot of stupid in there.
Like I said, I'm bummed. I wanted the Bills. I wanted, the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl this year, obviously. I wanted to see Cowboys Bills. Like, I want the full 90s nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think it's happening, man. I mean, like, it's been said many times, but do you know how many games the Bills have won since their bye week? Their bye was in week 7. We are in week 16.
Week 7?
That was their bye, so they came back in
4.
week 8. They have won 4. Good for you. Okay, now can you guess the 4 teams that they have beaten since the bye? They entered the bye at 4-2, by the way. They are 8-6.
One of them's got to be the Jets, right? Because
that is one of
course.
Those.
Dolphins?
That is 2. Okay, you're 3 for 3 counting the guess for 4. Wow, I'm kind of impressed.
Oh, Carolina.
Obviously.
And the Saints.
Holy crap, stats. Well done. Seriously, what a sequence for you. Everybody listen to the late night Sunday wrap-up that Stats does. He does a great job tying a bow on everything on the Explanation NFL show. That's how he knows all this stuff, because he lives and breathes it.
There you go.
But,
thank you.
But dude, yeah, I mean, like, and like, they lost to the Jaguars in this stretch. I just can't. They beat the Chiefs. That's the only thing that they've done of significance this year, because their other 4 wins were at Miami at the beginning of the season. They beat Washington. Cool. Not a challenge, obviously. They beat Houston. Again, the only team they've beaten that is of note is Kansas City. And that was when Kansas City was like falling apart and pooping all over themselves. I mean, I will take New England. I'm glad you're taking Buffalo, though.
Well, okay, but then let me do this. Who have the Patriots beaten? The Jets, the Texans, the Jets Titans. Again, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Browns, the Falcons, the Titans, and the Bills.
The Browns and the Titans are way more impressive. Not that the Browns are impressive than anybody the Bills have beaten. And again, they beat the Bills. So, I mean, like, that makes them better.
I'm just saying it's not exactly a murderer's row. So I don't think of New England as this powerhouse team in the AFC. I really, really don't. And bottom line, I have more faith in Josh Allen than Mac Jones. That's just what it comes down to for me. So I will take the Bills. You're taking the Patriots. Good That's a victory for me. All right, let's take another deep dive. Our final deep dive of the day takes us to Minnesota, where the Vikings are getting 2.5 points against the Rams. We have been the Kirk Cousins show of record. We have said that Kirk Cousins is not as bad as you think. I know some people think we want to put him in the Hall of Fame. That's not true at all. We're just saying he's not as bad as you think, but it's a tall task for Kirk and company against the Rams.
Yeah, much like it's true that much of the world is a results oriented process. Much of the world stats also is one extreme or the other. So if you say Kirk is not terrible, you are suddenly saying that he is the greatest quarterback of all time. Not at all what we're saying. We're saying he's better than you think. He's like a top 10, 11, 12 quarterback. He's a capable franchise quarterback. That's what we're saying. He has not had the proper help around him. But stats, I don't know if you know this. This is kind of set up perfectly for you and your other co-host, Brandon Lee Gowden of Bleeding Green Nation. So as of now, the Minnesota Vikings are the 7th seed on the NFC side of things. The Dallas Cowboys would host them if the playoffs began today. The 8th seed are the Philadelphia Eagles. So the only 7-7 teams outside of the Saints, but Saints are trash, like you said. The only 7-7 teams that are really going to battle for this final playoff spot in the NFC are the Vikings and the Eagles. The Eagles' final 3 games. This is something that BLG and I discussed on the NFC's mixtape, which actually came out today on Thursday because the Eagles played later. We did also have a very special guest on, Rick Devens from Survivor Edge of Extinction. You can listen to that show on the Blog and the Boys, Bleeding Green Nation, Big Blue View, or Hogs Haven Podcast Networks. No big deal stats. The Eagles' final 3 games of the season. And I know I'm getting back to Rams Vikings. Don't worry. The Giants, Washington, Dallas. And Dallas might not be playing for anything in that Week 18 game. Meanwhile, Minnesota's last 3 games. You got the Rams this week. You're at Green Bay next week on primetime Sunday Night Football, and then Chicago to end it. We'll give them the Chicago win. So my point is, if Kirk Cousins can outpace the Eagles head to head, that's him outpacing BLG. He's got to go through 2 big-time top contending teams in the conference to do it. One of those games, the more important of those games, on the road at Lambeau Field, where Aaron Rodgers bragged about playing earlier this week on primetime. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Kirk like exorcism experience that we're about to see here. I would love to see the Rams win because that would help the Cowboys as far as the NFC playoff picture is concerned. But man, I'm kind of thinking about taking the Vikings. I know that they did not look great on Monday Night Football, but man, this is their kind of window. Like, they kind of find these weird spots to kind of catch teams by surprise.
The Vikings might be without Adam Thielen in this one. That would be a big deal.
Justin Jefferson, though.
Kirk Cousins, limited participant, rib injury. That's not fun. But say what you want about Kirk Cousins. That dude always plays. Like, he always plays. Give him credit for that. I kind of feel like the Rams are starting to get it together a little bit. They got right against the Jags after 3 straight losses. Then they took down the Cardinals. They handled their business against the Seahawks, which, say what you want, Seattle was a desperate team, fighting to keep their playoff hopes alive in that game. Division game. The Rams got it done again. I don't know. I feel like maybe the Rams are starting to coalesce a little bit, and they clinch a playoff spot with a win, so they're going to be motivated in this one.
I certainly think the Rams are stabilizing, is maybe the word I would use. It was a rough little patch for them, obviously, especially offensively, but they've gotten right. I mean, it was 3 losses in a row, but outside of that, those were their really only losses. Their other loss was against the Cardinals early on in the season. That was when Arizona was kind of moving and grooving. But I mean, if we poke holes, which we like to do, stats, these 3 wins in a row that they have ripped off, and wins are wins. I mean, it's hard to win in the NFL, whatever. Against the Jaguars, right before, Urban was fired almost. Then against the Cardinals, who we now fully know to be frauds. And then against the Seahawks.
And I think the Cardinals are frauds in part because they lost that game to the Rams.
I know. Fine. I'll give them a little bit of credit. I'm not giving them credit for the Seahawks win, though. Like that, and like there's officiating that was a big part of that game as well, like awful officiating that has been, a factor all week long. So am I saying the Rams are terrible? No. I do think that they are an ascending team. You certainly want to, this is the time of year you want to get hot. But
what was that voice?
Johnny,
generic
football
NFL
fan, Johnny guy? Football fan, JFF. Okay. Anyway, I'm not ready to like slam dunk their back. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not quite there yet. I'm not saying you are, and do it. Win this game. You like I think the Vikings are a much more like fighting for survival team than you said the Seahawks were last week. So you know what? Do it. I mean, if you're really 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 back, go out, just beat the tar off the Vikings. I will. Stats just for fun. You know, I feel sorry for you because you're so bad at this picking thing. I'll take the Vikings, and I'll be the Kirk champion here. I would love to be wrong, like I said, because a Rams win helps the Cowboys. But I have a sneaky feeling, so I'll take the Vikings if you want to take the Rams.
You know, the Rams better win this game. And like you said, Vikings, I think, will be a little bit desperate because I think Zimmer's fighting for his job there. I mean, the Vikings playoff hopes are, on life support
Kirk's
here,
fighting
basically.
for his job too. Like they might, might be Kellen Mond time next year. And I tell you what, like not to fully interrupt your point, but like the NFL moves so fast that if the Rams lose this game and if Baltimore does get it done against Cincinnati, like we would sort of love to see happen, all of a sudden Baltimore is on, got a new wave of life next week for their game against the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams got a lot of purple in their life. Vikings this week, then Ravens next week. Both of those games on the road. So that's a tough road. And then the Rams finish up with San Francisco, who we all know kicks the tar out of them. Niners have won 5 straight against the Rams. So you better win this game if you're the Rams because it's going to be a rough road the rest of the way. I think they will. I think they get it done. So I will take the Rams and I will give the 2.5 points. All right, RJ, it is that time. Do you know what time it is?
Time for tea.
No, man.
Do you drink tea? Are you a tea? You are a tea drinker,
yeah.
right?
Who doesn't drink tea?
But like you drink hot tea during the day, right?
Yeah.
See, I only drink it like at night. It's just not like last night. Actually, I think I told you this privately. My wife and she's never seen the Harry Potter movies, so we've been watching them. Some of that's like the English part of this, but like made myself a big old cup of tea, threw in some agave. It's pretty nice time for me.
Congrats.
Yeah.
But now it's time for the Week 16 lightning round. Let's start with the Browns traveling to Lambeau Field. The Packers are getting 7.5 points. The Browns are a dumpster fire. The Packers are going to dominate this one.
Pro football's holiest cathedral sees another service go in favor of the home team. Green Bay, I don't care what the line is. It sucks. They're awesome.
Yeah, it's 7.5. It doesn't matter. The Packers are going to roll. Dan Campbell's Lions are in Atlanta. The Falcons are giving 6 points in this game. I think I'm taking the Jared Goff is on the COVID list. Yeah, forget it. I'll take the Lions and I'll get the points.
Man, I thought this was one I was going to get you on too. I will take the Lions. The Falcons are terrible, like terrible, terrible. So I will take the Lions. I'm fine if we're wrong here. It's fun. It's Christmas stats.
Yeah, now you know what? I want to see Dan Campbell get another win. Arthur Smith does nothing for me. Dan Campbell at least seems to be fun, so I'll go with that. The Jags are in Jersey to take on the Jets. That's a lot of alliteration. This game's a pick'em, RJ. What do you got?
I will take the Jaguars. I think that they're due. They didn't get the Urban Fire bounce back performance last week, but guess who's here this week, or guess who's in front of you this week? The New York Jets, baby. If there's a team that can feed the bounce back, it's the Jets. Man, this is also like number 1 and number 2 overall pick going against each other. And like that, like none of that juice is surrounding this game. None of it. Like, which really says a lot about how broken Trevor Lawrence is because of Urban Meyer and how broken Zach Wilson is because of Zach Wilson.
Jets might not have Robert Saleh in this game. He went on the COVID list. He may not be back in time for Sunday. I don't know if that's good news or bad news for the Jets. Obviously, we're wishing Robert Saleh well. I like the little juice between the quarterbacks there. I think it matters to them. And so, you know what? I think I'm gonna take the Jets in this one. Why the hell not?
Let's get some juice here too.
All right, I'll
1
go
and
with
2
the Jets.
Okay, cool.
Next up, let's go to Philly. NFC East matchup. The Giants are in Philly to take on the Eagles. Philadelphia is giving 10 points in this one. I don't care. The Giants are a disaster. The Eagles have something to play for. I'll take the Eagles and I'll give the points.
I have forgotten the stat at this point, but it's over 60 points. I think it might be 62. The Giants have been outscored 62-0 in the final 2 minutes of the first half this season. The Giants are awful, an embarrassment, medium cokes, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, whatever. Awful. They don't deserve to be an NFL team. They have lost double-digit games 5 seasons in a row. Banish the New York Giants. Send them over the wall. I mean, like to the Night Walkers. Like they are awful. They are terrible. It's hilarious.
Well, I'll give you a celebrity pick. Will you throw the Giants in the pit of misery like me and BLG do on Tuesdays?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I'm slam dunking them. I mean, like, I'm throwing them in there with authority. Like, I'm talking, get in this pit. You don't actually know, you know what? They don't even deserve the pit. They are in the black hole of misery. They go beneath the pit. I mean, dude, like, they're so bad. And the fact that they think they're so, like, good is so pretentious of them. It is a joy to me to see how bad that they are. I had a Giants fan kind of in my mentions a little bit over the end of Sunday's game stats. I don't know if you know this or not, but Trayvon Diggs, Dallas Cowboys cornerback, has caught more passes in the end zone at MetLife Stadium than Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney combined this season.
That is such a Cowboys fan stat, but I kind of love it. Yeah, the Giants think they're like this blue blood franchise. It turns out you're just bad, and they're going to lose again. All right, Tampa Bay is in Carolina. The Panthers are getting 10 points in this game. Carolina planning to start Cam Newton, although apparently PJ Walker will be part of the game.
Sam Darnold will be part of the game. Sam Darnold.
I don't need the Carolina Panthers quarterback update every week. This just in. They're all ass. Give me the Bucks. I'll give the points.
I think it's hilarious that people were like, Matt Rule, oh my gosh, like blah blah blah, Matt Rule, like he is like by far the worst coach candidate or coach that was hired in 2020. And that, I mean, the carousel of people includes Mike McCarthy, obviously better, Ron Rivera I would take over Matt Rule, Joe Judge, who I would take begrudgingly because Matt Rule has been that bad, and Kevin Stefanski, who like of those five, is Matt Rule not the worst?
It's between he and Judge. Yeah, I'll give it to Matt Rule because Judge got the quarterback he wanted. So I'll give it to Rule.
I mean, how can you say like Sam Darnold will play? Like that's the dumbest thing in the world to me. The Panthers are awful. They have no direction. They have no juice. They have no nothing. Take their name away too. The Carolina football team, as far as I'm concerned, Bucks win easy. Although it sucks that they're without Chris Godwin.
Chargers are in Houston to take on the Texans. Chargers, handle your business. You're giving 10 points in this one. I don't care. I'm going to take the Chargers. Justin Herbert and company. I know Austin Eckler is on the COVID list, and that's obviously a big deal, but you should easily win even if Austin Eckler never plays it down in this game.
Agreed. Justin Herbert, go get your bounce back. You've had a week and a half to get right, get ready. It's Christmas time. Enjoy it. Get the win. Keep yourself well and alive. Also, a Chargers win here helps the Cowboys. So do it, please.
Let's go to the Bears and the Seahawks.
Gross. What a gross
Seahawks
game.
coming off a loss. The Bears are the Bears. Seahawks are favored by 6.5 points in this one, RJ.
Yeah. I mean, it says a lot about the Bears that the Seahawks would be 6.5 favorites against anyone. I mean, the other thing here, dude, is like I'm tempted to pick the Bears just because the vibes are so bad around the Seahawks. Like they have actually quit. You know, like I have you seriously, like, have you ever seen a Seahawks team quit? That they have waved the white flag. They have quit. They are out. They are checked out. They are looking forward to next season. And why? Like, what do you even have to look forward to next season if you're a Seahawks fan? Like, is Russ going to be back? Is Pete Carroll going to be back? Like, who's going to be your head coach? You know, I know you guys threw out Dennis Allen, but like, who's going to be your quarterback? Kirk Cousins? I mean, maybe if he's a free agent. Like, I mean, I don't know how you feel good about anything if you're a Seahawks fan right now. And now, you know, like I kind of liked their futuristic looking uniforms for a little while. Now they annoy me. Like, you know, like everything that they're doing now just bothers me.
This is going to be the most interesting offseason for the Seahawks in quite some time. You know what? I think I'm going to take the Bears in this one. I'll get the 6.5 points. I think the Bears will cover the spread. Justin Fields, I think, wants to show people that he's not as horrible as he has looked at times. I don't know what's going on with Russ. I don't know if it's the finger, whatever it is. He just does not look right to me. So I will take the points and the Bears.
I will take the Seahawks stats before you move on, even though I just trashed them, because you mentioned Russ. Russ has officially cratered the Seahawks season. Now he's of the mindset, okay, you know what? I got to re-up my stock. You know,
up the trade value a little.
I got to re-up. I got to get out of here. Watch out. Here I come. Russ is going to win some people some fantasy leagues because like he might have a nice little run here to end the season.
Steelers are in Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 7.5. They might not look like the Chiefs, though, RJ. They've got COVID issues. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. This is not going to be a pretty game, I don't think. Where are you going in this one?
Man, I am upset that I have to do this for the second week in a row, and I was right last week. I think Pittsburgh, dude. I just and to be very clear, Kansas City's win last week was maybe their highest quality win of the season. Certainly their highest quality since they kind of pulled themselves out of that funk. But they almost lost. And I'm not trying to move goalposts, but like if one of those 2-point conversions hits, they lose. I don't believe in the Steelers at all. I think they're frauds. I don't believe in Ben Roethlisberger. But if there's one thing I believe in this game, with all due credit and respect to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, this year, this moment, this period in time, it's Mike Tomlin. He will find a way. And I at the very least will pick them to cover. I don't know that they win, but 7.5 is too much to give Kansas City right now.
I completely agree with you on every single thing you just said. I think the Chiefs will probably win this game, but there's no way to me that they win by more than 7.5 points, especially if Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce cannot go in this game. Travis Kelce, man, what a monster.
Dude,
for the Chiefs. And I have faith in Tomlin. Not that I don't have faith in Andy Reid, but Steelers will definitely cover this one to me. Broncos at the Raiders. The Raiders are getting a point. Drew Lock said, RJ, it's time to show everyone that I am better than I have played. Guess what, Drew? You're not better than you've played. The Broncos, I still think, are frauds. I will take the Raiders. I will get the point, and I will feel pretty good about it.
I think the Broncos are better than at least I was willing to give them credit for early on this season. I think, and I have said this, I think that this year, more than anything, they have proved that they are a roster that can be elevated by an elite quarterback, that they have proved that they are worthy of Aaron Rodgers, so to speak. So that is an interesting, sort of plot line to develop over the course of this season, heading into the offseason. That being said, they currently do not have an elite quarterback, even when Teddy Bridgewater is playing. And Teddy Bridgewater also proved that he is miles better than Drew Lock. For anybody that
miles
that.
Better,
yeah. Drew, love the buzz celebration you do. It's one of my favorite things. But this ain't it, man. This really ain't it. And you know what I kind of hope the Raiders go and stomp on their own logo at midfield before this game. You know what I mean? Like I was hoping this game would have some juice. I'll take the Raiders to win, but I think this is an afternoon game. It's just going to be like, Scott Hansen's going to check in on Reds and you're going to be like, oh, the Raiders are up by 21 points. Like that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, we'll move on. I know this is a lightning round, but let me just say really, really quickly. If I'm the Broncos, my entire mission this offseason is recruiting Aaron Rodgers, is getting an elite quarterback. If I'm John Elway, I go to Aaron Rodgers. I say, look, our roster has some skill players that are great. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant. We've got really good skill players. All we're missing is you. We've got a defensive head coach. He'll take care of the defense. You can run whatever offense you want. Pick your coach. We'll hire him to be the coordinator. You can run everything. You can be the GM of the offense. We'll let you do it. Come here. You've seen that we can transplant a quarterback and win Super Bowls. We've done it already. That would be my selling pitch to Aaron Rodgers. What do you think?
I agree with you completely. I think it's amazing how Vic Fangio really would be to Aaron Rodgers what John Fox was to Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think John Fox had a lot to do with the success early on in Denver. In fact, the real defensive success came once he left. But that's funny. And there is this like weird, some teams have like these, I know like it is the lightning round, but some teams have these like weird connections, like with, you have this like random connection with a weird team. The Broncos and Bears kind of have that. Like you've got the Jay Cutler, Kyle Orton thing, obviously, but you've got the John Fox connection. You've got the Vic Fangio connection. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Broncos, obviously that's the Bears benefiting from that, although having success with Vic Fangio seemingly. I mean, it's just kind of funny. But I think the Broncos stats, I think they're going to land Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, not an original take or anything. And I think they're going to be the would-be destination in free agency. Denver's an awesome place. I mean, it is.
It's a great city.
That's I think that they're the, not that anyone's ever the new one, but like the Leonard Fournettes and whatever that pop up in free agency, they're going to head to Denver to go play with Aaron Rodgers because they think that's going to be the place to be.
How fun would the AFC West be if you've got Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes? That's 6 games a year that are just incredible quarterback matchups. Please, please let that happen. And oh, by the way, if Aaron Rodgers could lead the NFC, I know that's something you and I would greatly appreciate. And speaking of the NFC, our final game of the week, the Washington football team is in Dallas to take on Big D, RJ. Your Cowboys are given 10.5 points on Sunday Night Football. How the hell is the Washington football team on Sunday Night Football?
Well, because a lot of people thought that Washington would win this division, you included, you big dummy.
Yeah, but we can flex the games. We don't have to stick with this game. I'm stunned that this game is still on Sunday Night Football.
I think you actually should be stunned. And I know a lot of people would say, well, it's the Cowboys, whatever. The Cowboys were actually flexed off of Sunday Night Football last year against your 49ers. But beyond the fact that the Washington football team just doesn't have any juice, and maybe that's why you get out of this, what further proves your point is Dallas is probably going to have the division locked up before this game even starts. I don't know if you know stats. They can clinch the NFC East before they even play if the Eagles lose to the Giants. I don't think either of us thinks that's going to happen, but they can also clinch the NFC East if they get 2 wins of 6 different games. It's a little bit complicated, and it has to do with strength of victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. But if any of these games go their way, if the Jaguars beat the Jets, that's one feather in the
entirely possible.
And they technically only need 1.5 of these, but 2 is a little bit more likely. If the Chargers beat the Texans, that's happening, right? That's one that you're willing to give them. If the Patriots beat the Bills, which is very possible, if the Vikings beat the Rams for some reason, or if the Falcons beat the Lions. I know we both took the Lions, but it is what it is. You also could get a Raiders win over the Broncos, although that game takes place in the afternoon window. The other 5 I mentioned to you, stats, all take place in the noon windows. That's 5 games where you only need 1.5, technically, to be fair, but 2 to go your way. If 2 of them go their way in the noon window, Cowboys are NFC's champions before Broncos Raiders even kicks off. And so to that point, especially, I don't know why this game stayed at Sunday Night Football slot, but it is the Cowboys. They are undefeated in December. They're America's team. It will probably do killer ratings. On the subject of Sunday Night Football, this is Michelle Tafoya's 300th game is the sideline reporter. So very cool stuff right there. Congratulations to her. But I don't know how the Cowboys don't win this game. Although Taylor Heineke was elevated off of the COVID list right before we started recording.
If the Cowboys have clinched a playoff spot, I don't play Zeke in this game. Anybody that's dinged up in any way, I am benching if I am the Cowboys. Just
Tyron Smith probably won't play if I'm speculating correctly. We'll see what the week has in store. But yeah, maybe you give Zeke a rest, maybe even give Tony Pollard a rest. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they are still alive, obviously for the 1 seed. They really are. I mean, if the Packers lose on Saturday and they're still alive for the 2 seed, they currently hold the 2 seed. So, if Tampa wins, if Arizona wins, if the Rams win, I mean, there are a lot of other things to play for, obviously, but they might have some caps and t-shirts waiting in their lockers when they walk into the building on Sunday afternoon.
I think they'll probably win, but I don't think they cover the spread. I feel confident that Washington is a pain, right? Like they're just a pain in the ass, especially now that Heineke is going to play. The dude just makes things happen. I could see them getting a garbage touchdown that covers the spread for them. So I'll take the Washington football team to cover the spread. I think Dallas will win probably, but to me, there's no way they win by 11 points.
Stats, one of my wins over you this season in this competition we're doing here was Dallas over Washington 2 weeks ago. I took Dallas and they covered. They were 3.5 point favorites in that game, 10.5 here. I have also won the 2 largest spreads that either one of us has taken, 10 and 11 points respectively. So I am unafraid of going out on a limb like I am unafraid of doing so here. I will take the Cowboys 10.5 for what it's worth. 2 birds, 1 stone. My time this morning. I've been running our Madden simulation for the Block of the Boys YouTube channel behind you the entire time we've been on today. And the Cowboys did win and did not cover, but I can't tell anybody the final score. You got to go watch the video, Block of the Boys YouTube channel.
Boy, you just find a way to shoehorn anything that you were involved with into the show, do you?
I mean, isn't that literally my job? So
I thought your job was to be entertaining and informative. Sorry.
I mean, I think I'm exceptionally entertaining and fantastically informative. I mean, did you know that, I don't know, I can't think of a fun fact. You're the guy named Stats. Tell us a cool stat. Stats?
You can't think of a single fun fact?
About the world?
Yeah, give me something, man. Come on.
I don't know.
Come on, man. The human head weighs 8 pounds.
Is that really true?
I don't know.
Did you make that up? That's very plausible.
It's all about the confidence, RJ. It's all about how you present it. Haven't you learned this as a Cowboy fan? It doesn't matter if there's any substance to your team. It's all about the style.
I know one team whose Super Bowl drought is longer than the Cowboys, and that would be the San Francisco 49ers. Stats.
How many Super Bowls have the Dallas Cowboys.
Are you really about to brag about losing Super Bowls to Joe Flacco?
Because you have to get there to lose it, you fool. And the Dallas Cowboys haven't sniffed the Super Bowl because they can't even get into an NFC title game, let alone the Super Bowl. So I don't want to hear any chatter from you.
Bragging about losses. That's how the mighty 49ers have fallen, that they have to brag about losses now. I remember when the 49ers were undefeated in Super Bowl, Stats.
Yeah, so do I. And then they got to 2 more.
But they lost them, so.
Yeah, again, this is not like you can't shame me because the 49ers lost the Super Bowl. I know you think that that's your like get out of jail free card in this argument. It's not. No one thinks that. You are all alone on this branch.
I'm out of jail. It's free. I'm good to go. More than anything, Stats, I think we should celebrate. Bear did not bark at all the entire time.
That's true. We should end the show before that happens. By the way, Dak's going to have a stinker on Sunday Night Football that's going to cement his losing the comeback player of the year award. Watch it. That's what's going to happen.
Stats, before we leave, a quick recap on our bets, just so everyone knows. I have New England. You have Buffalo. Patriots favored by 2.5. I have Minnesota. You have the Rams. Rams favored by 2.5. So I took one favorite. You took another. We did a pick 'em. First time we've taken a pick 'em in this competition. I took Jaguars. You took Jets. I took 2 more favorites, Seattle over Chicago. Seahawks favored by 6.5. Sorry, Bear. Not a believer in the other Bears. And Dallas over Washington. Dallas 10.5 point favorites. So altogether, if we do the total math here, I am giving you, let's see, 17. That's 19. I'm giving you 17 points from a cumulative standpoint. That is, pretty generous of me.
Instantly regretting my Jets pick, but we'll see how that goes. All right, everybody. Enjoy your holiday. Hope everybody has a happy and safe holiday. RJ, especially to you and your family. I hope things are good. First holiday as a dad. Congratulations again. And all my picks are going to turn out right. Shout out to Buffalo Rumblings, by the way, who was watching, saw my Bills pick, and gave me props for that. So we love you, Buffalo Rumblings. Enjoy it, everybody. Go Niners tonight, and we'll talk to you next week.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl.